Did you ever believe in the boogeyman hiding in your closet or the monster living under your bed? Did you ever stop and wonder what type of person would call upon the ire of a supposedly supernatural creature? In today's story, a young boy discovers that monsters don't just target willy-nilly. They seek out deserving prey, but is our protagonist that target? Hello and welcome to the Literary Lair. This week we continue and sadly conclude our Creepypasta Double Feature, with a story that more so fits the creepypasta mold, that being that it's written like a traditional story and it features a narrative. It was also the reason that this double feature exists in the first place. I actually got the idea for this from a friend of mine who recommended that I review some creepypastas, and while Candle Cove was my first choice, the one that they recommended was The Monster Under Your Bed Isn't Always There to Scare You, which is just a hell of a mouthful, so I'm just gonna call it The Monster Under Your Bed for brevity's sake. So if I'm only doing two this year, I had to use both first choices. There's not any backstory to go into like Candle Cove, so we'd better dig right in. Unlike last week, this one has a clear narrative, so it's easier to cover. The story is told in the first person by the narrator, who is a kid laying in bed trying to fall asleep. As they lay there, they hear a voice speaking to them from under their bed. The voice asks them whether or not they want to keep their briefcase or take the banker's deal. Personally, I wouldn't take it this early in the game. The narrator engages with the voice and learns that not only is the monster under their bed real, but its name is one of the most horrifying names in all of creation. The monster's name is Frank. Of course, that's a second banana name, which implies the existence of a greater monster named Clayton. The kid naturally remarks about how strange a name Frank is for a monster, and Frank says that his parents didn't want him to be a monster. They wanted him to be a dentist, and if you thought the head elf was a hard ass about elf practice, you should see the head monster when it comes to monster practice. The kid then asks a very important question. Is Frank gonna scare them? It's either scare the kids or make them laugh. We've all seen Monsters, Inc. We know how this works. Frank tells them that he's not going to scare the kid, and explains that while monsters do scare people, they only scare bad people who deserve it. Naturally, the kid asks if they're a bad person, which Frank refutes. And the bad person isn't one of the kid's parents either. The bad person is actually inside the kid's closet. Of course, it's the evil monkey! The kid hides inside his blanket as his closet rustles and opens. Then the kid hears heavy breathing and the blanket is ripped off of him. The kid's eyes are closed in fear, so they don't see what happens next, only that a scream emanated through the room, and that there's a knife on the floor now. The kid's parents show up and ask what's wrong, and the kid tells them that somebody was in their closet but jumped out the window. The parents naturally call 911, and the cops pick up a guy named Gary Thompson running away from the house, covered in blood and broken glass that matches the window. They also find Gary's car, which is filled with all sorts of horrible things: a video camera, duct tape, knives, and barbiturates, heavy sedatives for those who are unfamiliar with them. Gary didn't go to jail. His lawyer used the insanity defense, and Gary ended up committed in a psychiatric hospital. The kid never heard from Frank ever again, but he heard from one of the arresting officers that Gary sleeps on the floor of his room because he's terrified of the monster under his bed. Any guesses on what the monster's name is? This one is far scarier than Candle Cove, by the merit that it features a very real danger. Candle Cove is unsettling, but this one makes you scared for the kid. The monster under the bed is another very familiar situation, which is what makes a lot of these creepypastas very effective in scaring you. The best always hit upon a familiar setting to really draw you in before they utterly terrify you. Everyone has that moment of being in bed and wondering if there's a monster lurking in their closet or under their bed. It's a universal fear. And I think that it's also enhanced because we don't know what the monster looks like, just that it has a crackly voice and was enough to make a child predator jump out a window. Naturally, I don't have as much analysis as I did last time because this story was far shorter, but I do think that the characters in this one, the child and Frank, were very well written, and the dialogue between them was extremely well done because you had the suspense of, when is Frank gonna eat the kid, up until the wham line of, but you're not the one I'm here to scare. Who are you here to scare? The man inside your closet. That's a brilliant line and delivered expertly. This, more than a lot of creepypastas, seems to be born from the classic anthologies. Like, it's short, but it's something that could have totally been an episode of Tales from the Crypt or The Outer Limits with that final twist. What I like the most is that unlike a kid being punished or the reader becoming the next victim, and I really hate stories like that, the victim of the monster completely deserves it, so I can rest easy after reading it, knowing that the kid is safe and Gary is reaping exactly what he sowed. The monster under your bed isn't always there to scare you. Jeez, that is still a mouthful. It is a great creepypasta. It's suspenseful, the pacing is great, and it jumps right into the action. No beating around the bush or anything, which means it can grab your attention from the first paragraph alone. My friend introduced it to me with a bare-bones summary as I looked it up, and it sounded extremely intriguing, and I ended up really enjoying it. I highly recommend it as a great example of traditional creepypasta. Maybe we'll take a look at some of the more popular ones in the coming years. Why didn't the boy's parents know that someone else was in their house? And how did the monster know where Gary was? And most importantly, how did Gary get inside the closet in the first place without alerting anyone? We might never know the answers to those questions, but what we can know is if this tale was truthful, or if the author of the tale set out to fool the internet. Stay tuned till the end of the show to find out if this story was fact or fiction. What's that? Oh, I've been told that this is the end of the show. So, is the story true? Nope. The story was published online by a man named David Maloney and is entirely fabricated. But, if you're familiar at all with the story's history, you probably already knew that. But when it comes to creepypastas, the barriers between what's true and what's false become muddled. And sometimes you can only describe them as beyond belief. I'm Michael Gleason. Did you ever believe in the boogeyman hiding in your closet?
Cut! Michael, what the hell are you wearing?
My Star Trek outfit?
Why?
Because the script said to come dressed as Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes from Beyond Belief.
Well, the script didn't specify that. I don't know, I assumed because of the Picard trailer it was some sort of weird cross-promotion or something. I'm gonna have to go change now. If we lose the day, this is your fault.
How is this my fault? You wrote the script.